The question, adjustment of status, staying in the US versus consular processing, going back to your country. So, adjustment of status is the process of applying for the green card while you're physically present in the United States. That's generally under INA, Section 245 of the Immigration Nationality Act. It allows somebody to become a legal permanent resident without leaving the US, as long as you meet all the requirements, of course. How it works. Petition, you have to file a petition. Either a family member or a employer would file a qualifying petition for you. You would also file the Form I-485 application to register permanent residency or adjust status. You would need to do the appointment where they send you an appointment to go get your fingerprints taken. And then lastly, they schedule you for an interview and you go to a local field office and answer the questions, your evidence that you take with you, and they will give you a decision on whether they approve or deny. The pros and the cons. So the pro to adjustment of status is that you don't have to leave the U.S. You can apply here in the U.S. without having to leave. You can apply for a work permit while you wait for your application to be approved. And you could also apply for a travel document if you need to leave the country. This is more convenient for somebody to stay here and do the whole process rather than having to leave for an extended amount of time. So whenever it's possible, usually the adjustment of status here in the U.S. is the better choice. There are some risks and some cons to this. So one would be the processing time. It can take maybe 9 to 15 months is what I would generally say. So sometimes somebody can't spend all that time here in the U.S. They're not ready to spend those 10 months here in the U.S. So that might be a possible con. And then another would be that if you apply for adjustment of status, you're never guaranteed that it will be approved. So there is a risk that you apply and you get denied. And then in that case, either you'll have to leave the country right away or you'll be put to procedures. So some of the pros and the cons, but usually most people, if they're able to, they would rather do the adjustment of status and their status here in the U.S. without leaving. Another thing is that usually the filing fees, the government fees, they're a little bit more expensive that way. If you're not eligible to adjust status or the time doesn't work for you, the other option is consular processing. So consular processing, that's done outside the country. That would be done at a U.S. embassy, typically in the country where the person is a national or a citizen of. And so that might either mean the person is still in that country and they're going to stay there the whole time, or they might be here in the U.S. and they'll be staying here until it's time to leave, and then they'll leave, and then they'll wait the remaining time outside their home country. After that process, the visa becomes available. You submit your application National Visa Center, and then you interview at the U.S. coast, go to the interview at the consulate or at the embassy, and they would give you an interview, make sure that you're eligible, that you qualify, that you have all the required documentations. And then after they approve you, they'll issue you your immigrant visa, and then you come to the U.S. as a legal permanent resident. And once you're here, you request your green card, and you'll get that shortly after arriving. You request it. So is the process for consular processing abroad, and the pros and the cons. So sometimes, like I mentioned, the timing is better. Maybe I've seen this where they have small children that can't come to the U.S., so they want to wait outside in the home country, children to finish school, or to them to wind up a business, or to get their property situated so that they could make their big move to the U.S. So sometimes that timing just works better abroad, or maybe they have work commitments that they're not ready to quit that and to come to the U.S. So that would be better to do it abroad. Other times they don't have a choice. Already outside, they don't have an ability to come into the U.S. under any other type of visa. And so it is just the way that, or they're already here, but they're not eligible to adjust their status here in the US. So sometimes they don't have a choice. You don't have a choice, and that's the only way to do it. So if that's the case, then you have to leave and then wait the time period out there and then come back. So that does involve a little bit more risk, in my opinion. Number one is that once you leave or once you're outside, it might be harder to come back. Never a guarantee. So if you leave and they tell you they deny your case outside, you're already stuck outside. It's not going to be very easy to come back. And any that can come up, you're going to be dealing with them outside the country, and it might take longer. Um, if you did the process here in the US and they deny you, have more ability to appeal that decision. If they send you to the immigration court, you might be able to another defense or another process available and you'll likely be able to be here with your family or with your loved ones during that process. A little bit riskier to leave, in my opinion. Um, Never any guarantees, and even could be unforeseen circumstances that happen outside. For example, the COVID pandemic, when that happened, some people were attending their interviews and the pandemic happened and they shut down everything, and a lot of them had to spend quite a bit of time out there waiting for that situation. Or there could be even other circumstances, a war or something that might break out. So always, in my opinion, that risk. So if you're able to adjust status here in the US, it's usually the more recommended way to do it. Sometimes there are circumstances that the person needs to or wants to stay outside, or maybe they don't have a choice and they have to do it. They both lead to the same thing, which is a legal permanent residency. So they're just two different ways to basically get the same thing. With these cases, you should always to a trusted immigration lawyer. File anything before you file your adjustment, because as I mentioned, you could be denied, you could be sent to immigration court proceedings, and before you leave or start the process outside as well, make sure you get your case reviewed, because sometimes there will be issues that I can see, and I could tell you right away, if you do this, you're going to have some serious problems. You're more than likely going to be denied, and you're going to be stuck outside for a very long time. So to a trusted immigration lawyer so that they can evaluate your case and let you know what are the chances, what are the risks, and if there may be any other options available. And if you guys need any help, give us a call. We're more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And our phone number is 713-270-7171. We're in Houston, but we take cases throughout the country and the world.